Would I ever consider starting Napoleonics? I answer this and more in this month's Q&A. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to keep up to date with the Wonders of Warhammer 40k, then please subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss an upload. And remember, I upload on a Monday, Thursday and Saturday every week. Right, today is a Q&A video and something a little bit different, a new format. However, not my usual 2 cameras, 1 camera and a chair. So I've moved the video into my front room, into this chair, thinking that maybe I could make the video a little bit more relaxing, because I'm trying to make these Q&As a relaxing, chilled format video. So let's see how it goes. Now, before we go into the questions which you asked me on the previous Q&A, I've got a question for you. And that question is this. Pops, or I think the new range from GW's Funko Pops. I've only got one. This is the TV Pops. It's a Mirror Universe Mr. Spock. How cool is that? Now, I don't collect these. That was actually given to me as a gift. However, what I'm interested to know is, do you collect them? And will you be collecting the Warhammer 40k variants? So let me know in the comments box below. And whilst you're there, don't forget to ask me a question for next month's Q&A. Right, let's get on with the questions from this month's. Okay, so I'm going to try once again to do this with the least amount of editing as possible. Right, first question is from Bloodguard1980, and he says, what is your favourite ship class of the Federation? I like the original Captain Kirk Enterprise ship, so I believe that's the Constitution class, so I'm going to say that one. I really love that ship, it's really cool. Next question is from Terry Coma, and he says, I'm getting back into the hobby again after many years. Necrons were the first army I collected, so 90% of my current figures are all metal. How cool is that? I'm looking for daily inspiration and was thinking of having a good Necron wallpaper on my computer. That would be awesome. Out of the many available on the internet, which one would you choose? Okay, so the question it carries on, but let's answer that one. So, wallpapers. What I tend to do is have one of those running wallpapers, you know, where they just keep changing the pictures. So you could sort of put in your top 30 Necron pictures and then just have them rolling over. So that's what I would do if it was me. Currently have a wallpaper of myself. I call it my inspirational picture. It's a picture of me with my thumbs up like this. I wake up in the morning, open up my laptop, see that picture. It's like, Nick, everything is good. Everything is gonna be alright. I don't want to take my glasses off because I need them on. Right, okay, so the next question is from Terry still. I have 30 original warriors, 12 original immortals, 4 original scarab swarms, 6 original destroyers and 3 original lords, plus a unit of Daleks. Okay, what 2 units or troops would you suggest I invest in next, as I am trying to get back into the 40k, Tomb Blades, Flayed Ones, etc. I would, personally, if it was me, I would go for some Wraiths, metal Wraiths, because I think that would be a great addition to the army, keep the metal theme going, so I'd definitely go for some Wraiths. So that would be 1, you've asked for 2, so you've got 30 warriors, 12 immortals, 4 original scarabs. I probably would try to beef up your scarab swarm units, to be fair, because scarabs in 8th are pretty essential. So yeah, I'm going to say some more scarabs and look for some old school metal wraiths, because they are cool and cheap, especially if you get them broken. I've got a video on how to repair the broken metal wraiths. So they did 2 versions, one with a actual spine that goes all the way down onto the peg, and they did another one which goes all the way down and has got these like coils. I suppose now they're whip coils, but they're little coils, and then they go onto the peg. What happens is you put them in your case, the model bends because the coils are quite fragile, and as you know with metal, you bend it a couple of times, it snaps. So loads of people have these snapped ones. They sell them really cheap on eBay. I buy them, hence I've got 18 Wraiths, and then I repair them. What I'll do is I'll try to link you up to that repair video just there if you're interested. I'll put it in the description below as well. Okay, so hopefully, Terry, that answers your question. I think I'm just going to leave my glasses on because the camera is actually closer than it usually is, so it doesn't feel so blurry when because these are just reading glasses. In my other room, the camera's quite far away. Anyway, you don't need to know that. Right, next question is from John Kessler. Did you ever play the Star Trek CCG? Not quite sure what CCG is, but continuing on with the question, I have way too many of them, but I like the idea of building the universe, hiding artifacts and dilemmas, and moving your ships and crew around trying to perform tasks. I'm going to show my ignorance, but I don't even know what that is. CCG. Is that a computer game? Board game? Is that a role-playing game? I don't know, I'm sorry. Epic fail in answering your question, John, sorry. Okay, next question is from Daniel Grant, and he says, if you could go back in time, which of your armies would you tell yourself not to start? Which armies to spend the saved cash on, and why? I love this question, Daniel, and I'm going to take my glasses off for this one, so I need to think. Because this is a hard question. And I've got some armies which I don't necessarily enjoy playing quite as much as others. And I've got some armies which, you know, my armies are in like favourite orders. I've got 6 armies altogether. And would I advise myself not to do them, because that is hard, because even though now, let's for example say in 8th edition, I'm pretty much only playing Necrons. That's just the way that 8th edition has been so fast paced. It's dictated that. But before that, you know, 5th, 6th, 7th edition, I was playing a different army every week. I used to play every Friday, every week I had a different army. Making army lists was easy. It just seemed to be a lot better, a lot easier, let's say. And now I'm only playing my Necron, so I could say, well, I could probably lose a couple of armies. Now, my Space Wolves is probably one of my least favourite armies, because I've turned into, I mean, I've got my second, my Space Up Wolves were my second army, and I didn't really know at the time that I was more of a Xenos player. And so arguably that's my least favourite army. However, it's my best painted army currently, and it's my most highly converted army currently as well. I had Space Wolves bits, Space Marine bits and Chaos bits on there because it's a 13th company Space Wolves. Each model is dynamically posed, they're all different bits, and I painted them to a high standard. And I got a lot of enjoyments from it. I'd spent a lot of money on that army. Would I advise myself not to do it? I don't think so, because it's part of my hobby career as such. My Eldar are probably my next least favourite army, because I'm not so keen on the playstyle. That's the long and short of it. I do enjoy having the mechanised Eldar force, where I had all the wave serpents and basically just a tank army. I've had fun playing them, but it's not my favourite playing style. So would I advise myself not to start that? Probably not, because the thing about my Eldar is it was my opportunity to have Forge Weld in my armies. It was my opportunity to have tanks. My first army, Necrons, only one tank, the Monolith. My second army was Space Wolves, that was the 13th company, and guess what? They weren't allowed to take tanks. My third army was Tyranids. Guess what? No tanks. So when I got to Eldar, my 4th army, I went to town on the tanks. I highly converted them up with all the Forge Weld bits, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So again, I wouldn't necessarily say that I would advise myself not to do it. My Dark Eldar only have 2,200 points, painted it all in a month. Don't really regret that, even though I don't play it. It's just something to have to say I achieved it. So the answer is I would say none. But as it stands right now, I'm quite happy just playing Necrons at the moment. Maybe that's because of the way the channel's gone. I've gone a bit more Necron based. But in 8th edition, I still feel there's plenty of Necron gaming left. Especially where the rules are changing so much. It just keeps you on your toes and it brings new lists to the table. So at this moment in time I could say, well, I could probably just get rid of all my other armies and just have Necrons. And if I did that, just imagine how big my Necron army would be. And I'll be able to spam any of the units that I wanted. But no, I think the answer is I wouldn't necessarily advise myself to not start an army. Thanks for the question, Daniel. A bit long-winded the answer. However, we are on to the next question. That's from Sasha Dirin, and he says, if you could return any feature, ability, rule from 7th edition Codex, what one would you bring back? Good question. It's going to be the Canoptic Harvest. Because that formation was awesome and it suited my play style. You know, the assault elements of Necrons. So yeah, I would say the Canoptic Harvest. Okay, the next question is from Love Minis, and Love Minis says, do you ever see yourself getting to the point of giving a go at writing some Necron lore? I think you would be brilliant at it and would make some great videos for me to paint with. Okay, why do you think I'll be brilliant at Necron lore? I am rubbish at lore. It's the least favourite part of the hobby for me, and I don't ever foresee myself writing some Necron lore. I do write a little bit of lore for my armies, but it's very, very marginal, like one paragraph. It's not really even lore, it's more logic. Like my Eldar, for example, you know, I did read the Codex, I read the fluff in the Codex, and Eldar, obviously, they live a long time. Vulcans live a long time. They've got pointed ears. Vulcans have pointed ears. And then, what's the other thing? Oh yes, the diversity of the army, where they had all the different aspect warriors. One dedicated to assault, one dedicated to like mounted guns, fire dragons, killing tanks. One for this, one for that. So they would. So diversity came into it, so I thought, Vulcans, IDIC, infinite dimension, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Now I know I like editing, and that suited them as well, so that was about my fluff. It's like chess associations. So I don't think you'll ever see that video, sorry. Next question is from Basic Miniature Painting, and he says, would you ever consider getting into Napoleonics? And if not, why? I wouldn't consider it because I don't have the time. Full stop. Really, that's why I don't get into any of the other gaming systems. Just 40k. It's primarily time. It's also effort because I just don't want to have to learn a new rule system. It's hard enough keeping up to date with the 40k rules. Obviously money comes into it, although I know some of these other systems are quite cheap to get into, and then partners to play with, you know, people to play with, so it's hard enough sometimes to get a game of 40k once a week. So in actual fact I haven't played 40k since today's the 22nd of January, I'm recording this. I haven't played since I played Nick from Old Average Bit Gaming, which I think was about the 16th, 18th of December, so you know, a month basically. I have seen my buddy, and we've got together twice, but believe it or not, we painted. He's not painting his Blood Angels or his Orcs, he's painting his Man of War ships. So foresee some Man of War on the channel soon. That's the only time really I'm into other gaming systems. If someone says, look, I've got this game, I've got all the models, I know the rules, let's play a game, I'll run through it with you. that's fine. But I wouldn't want to start from scratch. Okay, next question is from Michael Weidner. Yeah. He says, if you were to build a Catan heavy list, how would you build it to be a contending list? Good question, Michael. And I'm not actually going to answer it in this video. And there's a reason for that. Is on my giveaway video, I asked for people's thoughts on what they would like to see. And quite a number of people wanted to see army list building around Catans. Now I have a Catan army list which I used to play in the old days, and I do plan to reinvent that for 8th edition, so there's going to be videos on it, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to hold back your question, but there will be videos on Catan list building in the future. So thank you for the question. Next is from Sean Gewecke, and he says, what is your favourite model or line of miniatures? He has another question as well. So my favourite model is the Tyranid Morlock. I love that model, it's very, very cool model. Obviously I like Necrons, so I'm going to say my favourite model is the Tyranid Morlock. My favourite line of miniatures is Necrons, and yes, I do like the Necron old models. You know, Necron warriors with the green rods, one posed, who cares? The Terminators, I love them, don't change them, GW. Do not get rid of the green rods from that kit. Right, next question is from Capatan Morgan's Wargames, and he says, whereabouts do you think Necrons sit now with the points changes and new missions from chapter approved? Will you sit down and rewrite your list from scratch, looking at maybe slightly different list builds? Are you doing any more videos with Necron Girl? Okay, let's do the Necron Girl bit first. Yes, you will definitely see more videos with Necron Girl in it. Regarding the First Strike box set, yeah, we've done nothing since the last update. It's something which, the problem we've got is that I work, obviously, and Necron Girl is at school. And I work at the weekends, and Necron Girl goes to her mum's on Friday night till Sunday night. So effectively we've only got the weekday, but by the time we get in from work, I get in about 6:20, and you have your tea, you know, have baths and get ready for bed, blah blah blah, and do whatever you need to do. The time just disappears. And it's always like, well, we'll do it next week, you know, we'll do it at half term. But even at half term, you know, I'm working, then she's going to, say, my mum's for the day, or my eldest daughter's for the day. And the time is hard. But we do need to make more of effort, because I do want to get them done. And making the videos for them is fun. So it's going to happen. Now we've also got another little distraction, which has probably had a big impact on that hobby time. And that's we're currently watching The Arrow. So we watched Supergirl, League of Legends, the other one, Flash, how can I forget Flash, that's the best one. And we've gone right the way back, in backwards order, but we're watching The Arrow, and we've watched 6 seasons in a very short space of time, so might have an impact. However, we're enjoying ourselves, and that's the main thing. But yeah, we definitely will have more Necron Girl videos. Right, okay, so back to this. Chapter approved missions, I haven't played them yet. It's going to be very hard for me to comment on the effect of them. In terms of my lists, what I always do with things like this is I take my current list that I've got, because I know how to play them, how they work, and I improve them. In this case, obviously having more points, so an extra unit. Effectively, pretty much most of my lists have one extra unit added to them, so where I can see the list has been lacking, I can add that unit that I need for the list. And then once I've got that locked and loaded, I mean, I'm always coming up with different list ideas, and my lists usually evolve around a particular theme or a particular unit that I want to play. So for example, I definitely want to have a go at Praetorians. So I'm going to make a list based around taking at least 1 unit of Praetorians. And that's how I usually list build. It's like, right, what unit do I want to play? And I want to play the monolith. I don't just want to play 1 monolith, I want to play 2 monoliths. And that would be my starting point. And then I'll build the list around that unit that I want to play. And I pretty much always build lists around a particular unit. Thanks for the question, Capatan Morgan's Wargames. Hopefully we'll get to game very soon. Right, the next question is from the Gaming Paddle. And if you're wondering why I'm using this cup rather than my sort of mug, it's because it's balancing on the side of the chair. I'm clumsy and I can foresee me knocking it over, so I've got one with a lid. Hopefully this video is not too dark. I've got that blind behind, but whatever. You're probably not even watching, are you? You're painting. Next question then from the Gaming Paddle is, if you were to kit bash another model or army, what theme would you do? I'm working on General Grievous style Necrons once I figured out how to do it. Side questions, any suggestions? Yeah, Google that, because so many people have done General Grievous Necrons. Just Google it. If you were to kit bash any other model or army, what theme would you? I think I'd like to kit bash some of the Forge World Necron HQs, the World Killer, etc. That's on the table. I also want to kit bash my Doom Scythe that I've got. I need to strip it, that I was given by Mayne. So I want to strip that, and I want to convert that into the Forge World Bomber. I want to get some more Forge World units into the army. And that includes kit bashing a Tomb Sentinel Stalker and also the Tesseract Arc. So I've got a lot on my table. Get those noise Marines painted, Nick. Come on, you can do it. Next question is from RedBeardBoss, and he says, are you excited for my Paint Brushist Ghost Brushes 2019? Obviously this was done a while ago. RedBeardBoss, basically he's got a Kickstarter of some brushes, the ghost brushes, which when you see this video will probably only have 1 or 2 days left. But yeah, the Kickstarter's already done. I mean, it's done amazingly well, so well done to that. He's also got, again, you've probably only got 1 or 2 days left, but he's also got a 1,000 subscriber giveaway of a, oh my god, what model is it? It's an Age of Sigmar big model, Nagash. Yeah, he's giving away Nagash if he hits 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. It's a big ask. I think the last time I looked, he was on about 650. But if you're interested, check him out. Obviously, the link for him and everyone is in the description below. Now, to answer your question, am I excited for your paint brushes? I'm excited for you, my friend, but I personally am not excited about the actual brushes. I did check the Kickstarter out, and I and ahed about doing it. The reasons why I didn't do it is because I do like my Kalinsky brushes. I'm used to them, and my experience with nylon brushes is they are very good at first, but they don't last that long, and that's not a problem because obviously they're cheap brushes. But the other thing as well was where your packages are like I'm not sure exactly how many you get. I think it's like 15 brushes or something. But they're all the different sizes, and I tend to only use, say, 3 sizes at the maximum. I usually use a 000, a 0, a 1 and a 2, 4 sizes, let's say. If your selection of brushes will say you get, let's just say you get 4 of each of those size brushes, then I probably would have done it, because it was like, well, I've got 4 of those, you know, even though they don't, maybe it only last like 1 or 2 months of painting. I don't know how long they last, I can't vouch for the quality. In my experience, nylon lasts me about a month or 2 months. If I had that package of, say, 4 of the same brushes, it's like, well, that's okay, because that will last me a year because I've got 4 of them. Having the different sizes, I'm more fearful that maybe I would use the popular ones, run out, then I've only got the other ones which I don't use very often. So that's why I didn't go for it, to be fair. But it's awesome that you're doing it, and I wish you all the best with it. And I think you're very happy with how it's gone. So congratulations on that. If you want to send me some ghost brushes for me to use and to review on the channel, I'm happy to do that. An option. Right, the next one is from the GigaSlayer. He says, are there any old rules or abilities you want to bring back? Things like formations or ever-changing AP rules back to the old rend rules, for instance. So I think I've answered that really. I'd like to bring back the Canoptic Harvest. But I'm pretty happy with all the rules for 8th edition. 8th edition is fun to play, so no, I think that I'm quite happy. Okay, I had to change the battery. Right, next question is from Mollymarine, and she says, would I use Lucius or a Demon Prince as a warlord? Okay, I don't know the rules of Lucius, but my advice regarding warlords is this. Depends on how you're arming your warlord. So if your warlord is designed, the thing with the warlord is you have to bear in mind giving up Slay the Warlord point. So if your warlord is a sit back guy who doesn't really get into too much trouble, who doesn't die very often but maybe doesn't do that much, maybe a bit more of a defensive or a buff character, then I would say make him your warlord. And then let's say for example let's just say you had an overlord sitting at the back buffing your units, and then you had a catacomb command barge in your army, and that was sort of going out, attacking and doing all the stuff. Then definitely make your warlords the overlords, because he's going to be less likely to die and give up that point. Now the other way to look at it though is to make your unit, which is going out and being attacking, and for example if the Demon Prince, I assume the Demon Prince is probably more powerful than Lucius, but if you've got say a Demon Prince who's all geared up, really powerful in close combat, and you make him your warlord, you could give yourself a double whammy. Now the chances are you would lose that warlord point. However, it would really focus your opponent's attention on that unit, that character, which would give you the benefit of the rest of your army being able to do what it needs to do, i.e. capturing objective points. So there is something to be said about making your attacking units the warlords, because it's double whammy. It's like your opponent thinks, my god, that unit's coming to me, it's a beast in close combat, I've got to get rid of it. And it's also thinking, or he's also thinking, that is Slay the Warlord right there, I definitely need to concentrate on that. Now it could be that your attacking unit is also, hopefully, quite survivable as well. So again, your opponent may put a lot of shots in that unit to try and take him down, because A, he's attacking, B, he's the warlord, and that can relieve the rest of your army. So there's two ways to look at it. It's personal choice, maybe some experimenting. I very rarely make my most attacking unit the warlord. I usually give that to more of the guy at the back that doesn't get into trouble. Okay, next question is from BlueDemonica, and she says, what species would you most like to be in Star Trek? Borg, Klingon, Vulcan, Romulans, humans, laugh out loud, etc. I had to think about this question when it came in. I think I would like to be human. Yeah, boring, isn't it? Maybe the Baku on that planet where you sort of live forever. That'd be pretty cool. I could have a YouTube channel that just runs forever then. But I'm going to say humans. Okay, next question is from Lord17C. Do you think warp spiders are ever, and I don't even need to read it, like, I don't even, that's rubbish. He hasn't written it like that, but I know that's how he is saying it. Going to get a resculpt. I really like their rules, but I'm not a fan of the current models. Yeah, warp spiders. Let's face it, all Eldar aspect warriors need resculpts. Come on, GW. And what's worse is the meta ones are now just fine cast, which is even worse. I've got a good amount of warp spiders in the old sculpts. I don't dislike them. They're a bit top heavy in the metal. And they're a bit samey, aren't they? There is that third party company, I'm not quite sure which one, but they've got a great sculpt, for warp spiders. I'm sure it's on the cards for GW. They know the situation, there's only so many models they can work on at a time. The team's only so big, the finances are only so big, the factories are only so big. So it will happen one day. And I'm sure when it happens, Eldar will get a fantastic Codex to go alongside it. Next question is from Griffin20. New Codex is out. There's been a lot of point reductions, which is freaking great. Do you see yourself playing completely new lists in light of the changes? And do you think you will utilise new tactics when you play? Thank you for the question. I've pretty much answered this in the previous question, but just a big shout out to you, good sir, for sending me a box of Space Wolves. I appreciate that. Complete box, some of them built, and then loads of spare parts as well, so thank you for that. But yeah, I've basically answered your question already. New tactics? Oh yeah, there's always new tactics to be had. You've got your standard ones, haven't you? You know, which units perform best, you know, you've got the combinations of units, but then there's new tactics on the table, sort of just general gaming tactics rather than how the models interact with each other. So I'm always trying to come up with new ideas, usually revolving around a particular unit, the unit that I've built the list around. Next question is from Brush and Quill. I read a lot of sci-fi books, mainly about space or futuristic combat. Do you read any science fiction? And if so, what book or series do you wish had a tabletop game that doesn't already exist? Sorry if already asked. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's been asked, because there's lots of new people watching. I have a Star Trek book collection, the novels. I've got about 550 books, gradually reading them. However, I've stopped reading. I used to read on the way to work. I have a little ferry trip. It's a 5-minute ferry trip, and I used to read them, but now I haven't got it here. Now I'm on the mobile phone, checking out notifications and stuff. I probably should get back to reading them. I've read about 100 of the 500. It's more of a collection than anything. I'm not a big reader, but I do enjoy the Star Trek books. I don't know if there is a Star Trek game like the Star Wars one. I don't think there is. I'd like to see a Star Trek game. Would I buy it? Probably not, because like I said, I don't really have time, but it'd be pretty cool to see. If they made it now though, they might go, well, would they go Calvin timeline? I don't think so, because the Calvin timeline's finished now. There's going to be no more movies. Star Trek, the 4th one's been stopped. Abrams is pulled out. All the actors have pulled out. It's just not going to happen. So who knows? But anyway, yeah, Star Trek game would be pretty cool. Next is from Dmcdraws, and he says, have you ever played Battlefleet Gothic? Regardless, what do you think of the Necron warships designed in terms of aesthetics? Okay, I have played Battlefleet Gothic. I have a large Eldar force, and my son, a good few years ago, has a couple Space Marine ships, and we played a very small game twice, just almost experimenting games. When I'm sitting in this chair, it's so easy just to do this with my hand, which I don't normally do in the other chair. Interesting. Anyway, why am I talking about this rubbish? Right. Regardless, what do I think of the Necron warships? I think they're awesome. I want them. I want Tyranid fleet and I want a Necron fleet to go with my Eldar, just because they're cool. I did see a massive Necron fleet on eBay. It was selling at buy it now of £225, huge fleet. I had no money at the time, totally regret not getting that. I would love to have had that, but I didn't. Yeah, shame. But one day, you never know. Be pretty cool. I would love to have at least a few ships, both of those armies, fleets. Next question is from Jim White. And he says, have you painted outside in the last 3 years? If so, is it too much of a hassle to do so? I've tried painting outside a very long time ago. I don't like it. I find the light is just too different from what I usually paint in. And now with my eyesight going, I need magnifying glasses and stuff to paint, so it's just really awkward. And I'm just quite happy painting inside. So no, it's not really the hassle, it's just that I prefer it inside. Next question is from Wizzard Wargaming. If you could make any change to the current 40k lore, rules or models wise, and you had total freedom, what would be the first thing you would change and why? This is easy. I would give Eldar Warp Spiders a new sculpt. Actually, I would give all of the Aspect Warriors, not, well, the metal ones, not the Dire Avengers because they're plastic anyway, but all of those metal ones, which are, well, they're fine cast now, I'd give them all plastic resculpts. First thing I would do. Thanks for the question. Next question is from Ikari Shadow PvP, and he says, shall we play Warhammer or miniature game if we are bad at painting? Right, okay. No, not at all, because everyone's bad at painting when they start, or at least they're not. Well, it's very rare you get someone that's really good at painting unless they're used to painting other stuff or they just have the natural artistic flair. Most people start, I mean, me for example, just dry brush my Necrons. I didn't know how to use inks and washes and all that stuff then. I just dry brushed it, backed it in, bit of dry brushing highlight, spot on the eyes of green, job done. Everyone's bad, and you know, you won't be bad forever. Just keep slogging away, keep painting. The more you paint, the better you'll get. The more you watch YouTube videos and read books on how to paint, you'll learn. And it's not just the techniques to painting. Sometimes it's just the basic stuff, like, you know, looking at the colour wheel. You know, working out how to use a colour wheel can greatly improve your painting, because having the right colours can improve the model and how it looks and how it pops, or, you know, on the table. So don't just learn how to paint, but learn the colour wheel. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you're bad or not. You know, you can still play. I mean, a badly painted model is better than an unpainted model. Okay, so next is from Mak Gohae. Yeah, Mak Gohae? From Mac. And he says, why are your ears so red? Okay, so this wasn't actually on my Q&A video, this was asked to me in another video. But I have been asked this question before. My ears do go red sometimes. Sometimes it's just one, sometimes both. I've googled it, and apparently it's a form of flushing stroke blushing, where sometimes, you know, people's faces go red. Well, sometimes people's ears go red. It's quite common. I think it happens, there's a couple of reasons. One, when I record in the other room, I'm recording right next to a massive radiator. Sometimes I get quite hot. But also I think it's down to concentrating. So when I'm recording, I'm making sure I'm saying the right things, you know, what I want to say. high concentration levels, I think maybe makes my ears flush. So yeah, I think that's the answer, but it's quite common apparently. Thanks for the question. Next question is from Underdog Painting, and he says, sip of coffee before this one, it's a long one. We both have Facebook groups, and congratulations on 1,000 members. Thank you, Bazza. Yes, we hit 1,000 members, then Facebook had a clear out, so we lost 26, but we're back up to 1,000 members. We did that yesterday. If you're interested, the Facebook group for me is IDIC Beers Wargamers Unification. Just search it. I think in actual fact, if you search IDIC Beer 40k, it will just come up. He says, I hope, excuse me, I hope to be there one day with mine, Underdog Painting Hobby Hangout. Shameless plug. Yes, of course, Bazza has his Facebook group as well. It's very similar to mine. It's all about sharing and caring. So check that out, Underdog Painting Hobby Hangout. And he says, so with us having a Facebook group, what would the age limit, if any, for someone to join your group? As my daughter is getting into the hobby and would post in the groups, etc. We all know there is some adult humour conversations that go on. Not so much in my group. I don't really see much adult humour conversations going on. Very rarely, and if so, it's quite discreet. And if it's anything other, then it gets removed. But to be fair, we don't really get that going on. But anyway, would you ever warn people away from YouTube channels and Facebook groups if young, for example, under 13? Absolutely. When I did the shout out to the GreatJoJoMan, awesome channel, awesome guy, awesome converter, fun videos to watch. Yeah, if you go over to his videos, watch out because he swears a lot. Every video, every sentence. And I did warn people when I did that shout out. I said, check him out, awesome guy, but watch out. If you're offended by swearing, don't check it out. So yeah, I would warn people of that. So yeah, I think that's it really. Thanks for the question, Bazza. Right, next question, and this is the second question actually from Terry Coma. He says, my question for you concerns Games Workshop Necron decals. I've never really seen anyone use them on their models. Do you? If so, what do you think of them? Okay, right, so the first thing with decals, and this is a warning. I do actually have a video, my Back to Basics video on decals, which got all the information on there. I'll check it. I'll link that up to you for you, just there. Wow, I've just noticed it's gone really dark. That must be the sun coming out. Okay, well maybe this isn't the best place to video. Let's turn the lights up. How professional is this going to be? But I'm not going to stop recording. If that makes any difference. Okay, probably not much. I need the exposure compensation on the camera. Oh well, forget it. Right. Okay, so yes, decals. Right, the word of warning is watch out for old decals. Once they get to a good few years old, they go brittle and they're not usable. So watch out for that. I don't use them because I don't particularly like them. I prefer either no decals or painting freehand. I don't have decals on my Necrons because I just didn't like them. I don't have decals on my decals, whatever. I don't have them on my Eldar because I didn't like the idea of having runes on my Eldar because of my theme behind them with the Vulcans and stuff, so I've stayed away from that. The Space Wolves are free-handed, the Eldar free-handed, Dark Eldar free-handed, and my Slaanesh Emperor's Children will probably be free-handed. So I prefer the freehand. I think it's more artistic. I've got nothing against decals or people using decals. I have used them on a few projects, and you know, like I said, I've got some tips and tricks on to use them. So check out that video. Again, I'll link that up in the description as well. Thanks for the question, Terry. Right, the next question is from Carl Mayne. He says, do you ever blink? Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? In my videos, I very rarely blink. I do blink, but the reason why in my videos it doesn't look like I blink much is there's two reasons. The first one is how I record the videos, so rather like this one, you probably notice I'm blinking more in this one, but how I normally record my videos, I do them in like edits, so I'll say 1 or 2 sentences, and then edits, and then the next one. So when I'm saying that sentence, I'm not blinking because it's a short space of time, but also I'm concentrating on what I say. And when you concentrate, you don't tend to blink so much. So then you put one scene where I don't blink, another scene where I don't blink, another scene where I don't blink, and all of a sudden I never blink in the video. So that's the answer, or at least one answer. The other answer could be that I'm actually a Necron.
Necrons!
Okay, so that actually was the last question. So if you've got another question to ask me, put them in the comments box below and I'll answer them in next month's video. Until then, beam me up.